After my 5th attempt to end my life, I survived. But surviving, it didn't teach me how to live. The attempts had stopped, but PTSD didn't. The depression did not. And the trouble is, I was left with one question, a question I had to face. If I was going to stay, how was I going to build a life I actually wanted to be part of? That is what we're going to talk about today. Welcome back to the Journey Unmasked. And if you watched the last video, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for all your comments, support, and for your understanding. Because as you can imagine, that was probably the hardest story I've shared on this channel. However, I'm not going to be telling that story again because this video is about, well, the part that come afterwards. Now, as you can imagine, when the immediate crisis passed, I still had the same mind, the same pain, and no idea really what happens next. So if you are new here, I'm Lee. I'm a former British Army soldier, and I was diagnosed with CPTSD and chronic depression. And although my story comes from military service, this channel is not just for veterans. You don't need my background, you don't need my diagnosis to be welcomed here, because if any part of this feels familiar, this space is for you as well. This is only my experience. Recovery looks different to everyone, and I'm definitely not here to pretend I've got all the answers. Now, if you have made it this far in the video, near the end, I do a 6.5-minute Q&A with Billy McLeod, who runs Veterans in Action, to answer some of the questions about the charity, what the charity does. If this part ain't an interest to you, then you may want to skip forward to that part if you're interested in the charity. However, if you're still here and going to stick with me first, that is great. Before we get into it, I'm just going for a lovely walk. It always clears my mind in my local area, and I've come across something that I find pretty cool. I don't know how long it's been here, but I'm sure I didn't see it not so long ago. But look at that. Now that'll keep the kids entertained and the adults. But over this way, there's a den. Now that is pretty cool. They've gone to a lot of effort there. Even found a little bit of tarpaulin. Of course, this is the sort of stuff we do at Veterans in Action. Now this is nowhere near it. That's pretty cool. And getting out and doing adventure and doing stuff, you can't beat that. The thing is, I thought the decision of staying alive would sort of change everything, or at least it should have in my head. I thought there'd be relief. I thought I'd suddenly feel grateful, hopeful and ready to start again. But unfortunately, with like these stories, that never happened. I was, still carrying the same trauma, the noise in my head, the anger, exhaustion, and the days I wanted to shut the world out. I suppose the only difference now is I took death off the table, and looking at it, that was important. But it left me facing with life, and I didn't know how to do that life anymore. You see, there's a big difference in not wanting to die and knowing how to live life. I had to learn the difference slowly because, some days didn't feel like hope. It was simply getting through the day, answering someone, turning up somewhere, or just doing the next thing in front of me. I used to think that action came after motivation, but what I've learned is that sometimes action has to come first, and the feeling of it, that comes later. You just take a path you ain't taken in a long time. And it's surprising what you find. I mean, look at that swing there. And I'm not even sure what they're trying to build here. To me, that's exciting. Taking a path you ain't taken in a long time. But that path is now different. And one of the biggest things holding me back, I kept comparing myself to the person I used to be. The soldier. The person that could push through, the responsibility, and to keep going no matter what it was costing me. Because I used to think recovery was actually getting back to the person I once was, but I could not go backwards. Unfortunately, my experiences had changed me. Leaving the army had changed me, and living with CPTSD and chronic depression it changed me. And the sad thing with all that, for a long time, I felt like a failure. I'd lost my role, my routine, and a sense of where I belonged. When all them things disappeared, I didn't just lose a job. I lost part of the way I understood myself. And you know something? Recovery really only began when I stopped asking myself, how do I become the old Lee again? And instead started asking, what kind of life can I build now with the person I am today? And you know, accepting that was not giving up on myself. It was finally giving myself somewhere honest to begin. Now, through this journey, there was no single moment that fixed me and no single person that could do the work for me. But people mattered. Jodie, my family, friends, and the people that continued to stand by me gave me connection. When I suppose my first instinct was to disappear with inside myself. You know, I couldn't take the PTSD away, but they all reminded me I still had somewhere I belonged. And I also learned that asking for help earlier was not a weakness, because strength ain't waiting until you're completely overwhelmed. Sometimes strength is just saying, I'm not doing well today, before the situation comes into a crisis. You know, practical things have helped me. At Veterans in Action, having a real task in front of me gives my mind somewhere useful to go. Working with my hands, helping to build something. Working with a team, it gives me structure, it gives me purpose. The outdoors, and that gives me something similar. You know, walking definitely don't solve everything, but it can create enough space between me and my mind to think more clearly. As you've seen on a past video, the motorhome, it became part of my therapy. It gave me a safe space to retreat to. It lets me step into the world without feeling trapped there. Because you know, I can take part, I could challenge myself and still know I've got somewhere to return to if it all gets a bit much. And now this channel, it's become part of that journey, part of that purpose. You know, speaking honestly can never change what happened, but it does help somebody feel understood. Then if that's the case, something good can grow from it. Now, none of these things cures me. They just help me stay connected to the world and life while carrying what happened. You know, I have to be careful here because I don't want to turn this into one of them stories where everything after that became perfect, because that's definitely not the case. You know, I still get triggered, I still have anger, days of exhaustion, and the days I'm just totally withdrawn. I still need quiet, space, that time to recover. And other people on the outside may see me as completely ordinary. The difference is not that the struggles have disappeared. The main difference is I understand more of what is happening. And with that, I have more choices of how I respond. I can notice the warning signs a lot earlier. I can also reduce what I'm asking of myself. I can actually step away without treating it as I'm a failure. And I could tell someone what is happening instead of trying to carry it alone. You know, I don't always get it right, but a bad day does not erase all the hard work that came before it. That has been one of the most important lessons for me. Recovery is not a straight line, and more importantly, struggling does not mean I'm back to the beginning. You know, I used to think a worthwhile life had to be a life without pain, but now I understand that life can still have value while containing difficult days. Post-traumatic growth does not mean the trauma was a good thing, and it definitely don't mean I'm grateful for what happened. It just means that alongside the damage, something else can grow. Honesty, compassion, connection, and a clearer sense of what matters. For me, learning to live again simply meant finding reasons to take part, helping somebody, turning up, spending time with people I love, going somewhere, practical work. And you know what? Speaking openly here, and all them things may look totally ordinary on the outside, but to me, They are part of my journey of rebuilding my life. Now, I know I'm not the old Lee and I'm not the finished version of the new one, because I am still learning who I am. And I'm also learning that this person is allowed to have failure. Now, if you have survived your own darkest moment, but still feel frightened, ashamed, lost, then hear this. Survival is not the finish line. And you're definitely not foul because you are suddenly not okay. You do not need to solve the rest of your life today. The next big step just may be one honest sentence to someone safe who you trust. Just saying, I'm not coping, or I need you to stay with me while I get some help. If you are in immediate danger or you feel unable to keep yourself safe, please use the urgent support in the description, or contact the emergency services now. You are not weak for needing help. You're definitely not a burden for being honest about where you actually are. Sometimes learning to live begins with somebody else to help you reach your next safe moment. Before closing this one, like I said earlier, there'll be the Q&A on Veterans in Action with Billy. Please check that out. It'll give you more of an understanding of what the charity is, what it does, and if you're interested, then you know the reasons why you can contact them. So I suppose after my 5th attempt to end my life, I survived, but learning to live again has taken much longer, and I'm still learning. But I also believe I don't have to become the person I was before. I can build something honest with the person I've become today. I still have difficult days. I still carry CPTSD and depression, but I'm here. I have people I love. I have a purpose, and I have reasons to keep stepping forward. So if you do feel comfortable, please leave a comment and, let me know of a small way that helped you begin to move forward. And if you want to follow the journey, then please consider subscribing to the Journey Unmasked. I'll finish this one with Billy. So thank you for listening.
So when you turn up at Veterans in Action, you're going to be welcomed by veterans just like yourself, who's been through the same process you have been through, myself included. I've stood exactly where you're standing now, of making that decision to come and see a charity for the first time. Now, naturally, you're going to be nervous doing that, because you're going to someplace that's new, you don't know the people that's there. But when you come in the door, we're not going to ask you any loaded questions at all when you come in the door. It's just going to be welcomed and shown around the centre. Now, we hear from many veterans, they don't really want to talk about their past. That's not what we do. Veterans in Action concentrating today and tomorrow. We can't do nothing about the past. You've probably been with other organisations, or we can refer to other organisations who will deal with the past if that's what you want to do. So at Veterans in Action, we don't ask where you've been, what you've done, and why you feel the way you feel. We're just about getting you moving forward and getting involved in the teams and the projects we run. I do know for some of the therapy charities, if you've not got a diagnosis, they're going to give you a diagnosis. That's not who Veterans in Action are. We're not here to judge whether you've got a diagnosis or not. We deal with the presenting problem of the veteran who comes. So if you turn up and you're feeling a bit depressed, well, we're going to help you. If you turn up with a diagnosis of PTSD, of course we're going to help you too. The process is about coming and getting involved and changing your life today and doing something you weren't doing the day before. Coming to a charity for the first time, we always advise bring somebody with you. It's not essential, but we think it makes that first visit easier. It's always kind of, you're on the edge of your nerves when you come for the first time, meeting new people in a new organisation. By bringing somebody else, it takes a bit of that fear away and that kind of trepidation you may feel. So we always advise it. Is it normal to feel nervous when you come? Absolutely. But think of it this way. It's not about PTSD and it's not about depression. It's about anywhere you go in life that's new, you've instinctively got some nerves. And it's anticipation more than nerves. And that's true of coming to the charity for the first time. We expect you to feel nervous, but we were nervous the same as you are. You know, it's perfectly normal to feel that way. One of the introductory projects that we use here is Veterans Walk and Talk. Our history at Veterans in Action is long distance walking, but what we've done that is we've brought it into a smaller area next to our centre in the woodland that we run. We feel that's a good entry level to come and find out who we are. You can bring your partner, your children, your dog, and it's an easy way to talk to other veterans in a non-kind of threatening environment or non-nervous environment where you can just naturally talk with other people, have a bit of a breakfast in our parachute where we're sat right now, and talk to other veterans like yourself. In many cases, a partner of a veteran will call us first and say their partner is struggling. My answer to that is always, does your partner know you're calling? Because it may be that they're too nervous to make the call, but it may be that they don't know. And we always say to the partner who calls us that please tell your partner you've made this call. Because if we randomly call or send an email to the partner, the one that's struggling, if we randomly call them, we could push them further away. So we believe the best way in, if you have a partner struggling, is to bring them on a walk and talk, because that eases the way in. They can see that we're not threatening, we're just like who they are, and we talk the same language. If you check our social media out before you come and see us, you may see that it's all Land Rovers, building Land Rovers or expeditions. And that might be something you're not really interested in. Well, what we've done is we've put a programme that surrounds the vehicles, because ultimately we do expeditions. But what we've done is surround the vehicles with other projects. So if you're not interested in building vehicles, that's absolutely fine. I'm not really myself. I like expeditions, don't particularly like building them. But there's others here that do. And what we do is we surround that project, and it might be, as we're doing right now, filming. It might be you like filming, or we introduce you to filming, or flying a drone. But there's other projects around that main project that will keep you interested anyway. Now, we have been asked by many in emails or a phone call, how much does this cost? It costs absolutely nothing to the veteran that comes, or their partners, or anything like that. It's a free charge. We are a charity. We raise the funds for what we do. We have good corporate sponsorship, and everything for the veteran is free. So what would happen if you turned up here and you hated it? Well, do you know what? That's perfectly normal in life. We can't make everybody like what we do in any form of life. What we would do, we'd never abandon you. What we do is look at other organisations that might be better suited for you on how you want to get better. We're an organisation that likes to do hard work and get out there and change how people feel. If that's not something that you're really into, or you want to do it in a different way by, say, therapy or medication, well, there's plenty of other organisations out there, and we would help you through that route.